in the Master's hands.
Welcome back, little warriors. You're listening to Little as Much, the podcast where we learn to be brave, strong, and courageous soldiers in God's army. I'm your host, Miss Val, and today we are going to pack our bags and join two special people on the most important trip in all of history, the journey to Bethlehem. Mary and Joseph were everyday people, but they were chosen by God for an extraordinary task. They lived in a town called Nazareth, but an event that seemed like a big hassle was actually God's perfect way of bringing his son into the world exactly where prophets had said he would be born. This story is all about obedience, even when things are difficult, and trusting in God's timing. Let's open our Bibles to the book of Luke and read the story of this incredible journey. But a Roman emperor named Caesar Augustus issued a decree that forced everyone to travel. Listen to what the Bible tells us in Luke chapter 2, verses 1 through 3. And it came to pass in those days that there went out a decree from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be taxed. And this taxing was first made when Cyrenius was governor of Syria. And all went to be taxed, every one into his own city. This wasn't a fun trip. It was for taxing or counting money and people. But little warriors, remember this. God can use big governments, confusing rules, and long, difficult journeys to make his promise come true. Nothing is too big or too complicated for God's plan. So Mary and Joseph had to travel from their home in Nazareth all the way south to the town of Bethlehem. Why Bethlehem, you might think? Because Joseph was a descendant of King David, and Bethlehem was called the City of David. This wasn't a quick drive either. It was a journey of about 90 miles, which would have taken many days on foot or by donkey. Now let's read the details of their travel in verses 4 and 5. And Joseph also went up from Galilee out of the town of Nazareth unto Judea, unto the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and lineage of David, to be taxed with Mary his espoused wife, being great with child. Think about the faith of Joseph taking his pregnant wife on a difficult journey, knowing the child she carried was the Son of God. And think of Mary patiently trusting God with every step of the way, even though she must have been tired and uncomfortable. They were simply being obedient, and that obedience led them right to the place God had chosen for his son's birth. When they finally arrived in Bethlehem, the little town was crowded with other travelers coming for the census as well. They searched and searched for a place to rest, but there was no room for them in any of the regular lodging places. Here, in the humblest of settings, the God of all creation entered into the world. Let's continue reading and see this powerful moment in verses 6 and 7. And so it was, while they were there, the days were accomplished that she should be delivered. And she brought forth her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. A manger is a feeding trough for animals, and this became the first bed of the newborn king. It wasn't a royal palace that people expected, was it? No. God used a humble journey, inconvenient command, and a simple stable to show us that his greatest gifts often come in the most surprising and quiet places. Little warriors, what can we learn from the journey of Mary and Joseph? We can learn that even when our plans are interrupted, or when we have to do something hard or uncomfortable, God is still guiding our steps. Mary and Joseph obeyed the law of the land. They obeyed the voice of the angel, and they trusted God's plan one step at a time. Their obedience led to the beautiful moment of Jesus' birth. So I have another warrior challenge for you today, and that is to remember that when you feel tired or when a task is hard, you can keep walking in faith. Remember their quiet journey and say it to yourself. God is guiding my steps, and His plan is always perfect. Thank you for training with me today. Join me again tomorrow where we will have another special Christmas episode. I hope you're having a great week. And as always, remember, little is much in the Master's hands.
In Bethlehem on a silent night, a tiny child, God's holy light, wrapped in love, laid in the hay. The promised Savior came that day. Sewed up little warriors, stand tall and strong. God sent His Son, our Savior born. Hope and joy, God's mighty plan. Little is much in the Master's hands. Angels sang with voices bright, peace on earth that holy night. Shepherds came to see the King with thankful hearts and praise to bring. Suit up, little warriors, stand tall and strong. God sent His Son, our Savior born. Hope and joy, God's mighty plan. Little is much in the Master's hands. A